Okay, thank God. And I saw your assignment. You did well. So there is, that will bring us to something later, which is data cleaning and formatting. But it's fine. You got the importation well and the math functions. So I didn't share the last recording because it was a lot of break-ins and outs. So we'll just start again, brush through from the last class, and we'll catch up. Since the network was not very good for us. So okay. So we will continue from VLOOKUP and down to um, the rest. So as I said earlier, or the other day, that we'll use the lookups to search through our data sets. All right, so we have three lookup functions: the VLOOKUP, the HLOOKUP, and the XLOOKUP. VLOOKUP basically is vertical lookup. So it looks up for items vertically within your data, while the HLOOKUP looks up horizontally within the data. So remember we talked about index referencing, right? So here we want to search a user's detail based on their ID. So whenever an ID is entered, we want to see the corresponding details for the user, right? So we will reference this text box, which is O3, to say whatever ID number that is entered there, that is what we want to use to calculate, to find or to search for these details. Now, we want to first of all search for the name, the first name. So based on this ID, we want to know the first name. So let me clear this off. So let me clear this already existing data off. So here we don't want to be able to search by whatever ID that is entered here. We want to know the first name and the last name. So we call on the function VLOOKUP because we want to search vertically. So this function says search vertically across the data. What are we searching for? The value of ID that will be entered here. And through what table array? We are searching through this entire table. So we are searching through the entire table. For the value at index column, we want to find the index, the column 2. So when we see, we have the ID first name at the second column, right? And then we return true. We started again. So lookup value, table array, index column. Okay. So this is the range we are searching through. What is it? Mm-mm. So we have the value table array. Okay. The index. So first name is at index column 2. What happened again? Okay, okay. So there is no ID. Okay. So can you see? So we're having that error because we had not selected an ID yet. So now why it's so is because we've selected whatever value that is here. And you remember what I told you about referencing, right? How a cell can be referenced exactly. So when we selected this, so this place my cursor is at is called the what? This, yes, it's a cell. So we are referencing that whatever value that is here, fetch the value. So that's why we can see. So when we change the ID numbers, it also the values change simultaneously. Then we do the same thing to find the last name. So still VLOOKUP. What is the lookup value? Any ID that is entered here. Then from what table range? Through the entire table. So we're searching through this entire table. And we want to return last name. And last name is at column 3. True. So I didn't pick the range properly. So we're selecting through this entire range. Okay. So you see when so look at ID number 7. Yes, the first name is Flower, the last name is Mate, and then the email. Okay, so we update. So instead of K12, we want to reference from here. Through this entire range. Okay. Oh, so this is at index 4. Yeah, so we want to fetch the value at index 4. So are, are you following with this? Is this a bit confusing? Okay. So let me, okay. So on the, can you share your screen? Like, is your network going to permit you to share your screen now today? Okay, so if you can, then you use the same VLOOKUP on the data set you did, the assignment you did. So I'll stop sharing so you can share. Oh, I shared this document with you. Oh, I didn't know. Your screen is still not up. Are you there? Okay.
Try. The appreciate keeps going off on my side.
Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, so that's fine. We'll just keep going. So let me. Mm-hmm. Hold on. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have to share the screen there. Okay. So similarly, it's the same thing with HLOOKUP, but in this case, instead of the colon, we'll be referencing the row, right? So we also have this collection of data. So let's assume this is a hypothetical data from a store that sells mobile phones, TV, AC, and heater, and the corresponding prices, the units sold, and all of that. So, for instance, if you want to search for, let's say, the the quantity of maybe TV sold, you can do that. So here we already have a default. Again, we are going to search by product name, or let's decide to search by country. So for each country, mm, 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 mm. Uh, let's just leave it back. Wait. Let's leave it back by product name. So we can search by product name. Again, here, whatever product name is entered here is what will be um referenced, right? So we call on the H lookup, and lookup value. What do we want to find? Any value that is entered here is the value we want to check. Table array. Where do we want to find it? Across this entire table range. And what row index number do we want to return? So for here is unit price. So row unit price is on what row? On, yes, row 2. So we return this. So because we've not entered any product, so let's enter mobile. Mobile. Where's the unit price? Yes. So you can see that the mobile price, the unit price for mobile phone is 500. So I don't know why is it your network or your device? I really would have want when I try some, then you also try. Let's see that you're actually following. Okay. 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 So you will still do all of this on the assignment data you had. I'll still give it as assignment. So we do likewise for quantity. So okay, so since you cannot listen, just take me through, guide me. So we're doing H lookup, right? H look. So we want to find for quantity. So what do we do next? Great. Then great. Then yeah, the return true. What? So lookup value is this table array, this row index. Mm, row 1, row 2, row 3. What are we looking for? Quantity. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Quantity is 10. Okay. So I referenced beyond the entry point. So we're referencing, yeah. So for sales, let's go again. Um, H look up. Okay.
got the one from the company.
Thank you.
Table array. Sorry, the entire table.
Yes. Then
And
total
index and
sales. Yes, four. Then I want to return true. I didn't select it all. Okay, 5,000. So same thing with country and okay, so let's well, I think we've gotten it. So the same thing with that. Then let me add the X lookup. Hold on. Let me just duplicate this. Um, okay. Mail. Oh no. Okay. So I'll copy this table here. Mhm. And title this X lookup. So I said the X lookup functions perform all the functions, both the function of the V lookup and the horizontal lookup. So it looks up whether vertically or diagonally, I mean, or horizontally, right? It doesn't have a specific range of look. So just as we have, so let me create this table format. Okay, so here I want to merge this. So I want to merge this. Then here we want to find so here will be so we'll still use ID. So we'll still use ID to search. The search so ID. Okay. So we use the ID here. Whatever ID we enter here is what we want to use to search. And we want to search for uh, first name, email, and the country. Let me make this. Okay. So these are what we want to search using the X lookup. So of course, for the first name, we'll enter our lookup for our function X lookup, then lookup value. What value do we want to look up? Here we don't have a value yet, but we want any value that is entered here should be the lookup value, meaning reference whatever is here. So whatever ID that is entered here is what we'll be looking out for. Now, lookup array, where do you want to look it up through? ID is in this range. So when you find the ID, so lookup, we have lookup value, lookup array, we've selected that. What do we want to return when the ID matches? So in this case is the F name. So where is F name here? So the value that matches that ID from the F range, F name. So of course we have 0 because we've not entered any ID number. So let me enter ID 5. And we have Jack. Does it sound a bit confusing than the other lookups? Okay. Then we also check for the email. For me, I feel like X lookup is way easier. I don't know if because I use it more. I feel like it's easier than every other one because you are not restricted to. So X lookup still, in this case, we are looking for email. So our lookup value still remains whatever value that is entered here being the ID number through the ID number column. Which range are the ID number? So from this range, that's where you find the ID number. So when you go through this range, find the ID number here, match it. When you find it, then across what you want to return, the email, any email that matches that is tagged to that ID number, that's what we want to return. So we'll go to the email range and search. Now remember that with V and X lookup, we would always put the either column or the row number. But with X lookup, we use the range. We just reference the range and it matches our search. So ID number 5, yes, is Jack. So let me make this, the text should be black and bold. So can you lead me through? Let's find the country. Okay. So it's X lookup. Mm-hmm. Yes. So if you say 5, it means 5 is our static number. We just say the cell. Can you say it rather reference the cell instead because the ID number can change, right? Or the lookup value can change. So our cell, which is H9, yes. Okay. Then yes, because we want to return country. So can you check through our formulas, our function? Is it all correct? Exactly. I intentionally put full stop there. Okay. So yes, Jack is the country for Jack is Switzerland. And so we can just keep searching and see that it's updating. Mm-mm. ID 20. So that's how you can easily scan through a large number of data, right, using the lookup. Now, another function is count if, which is conditional counting. Now, I don't know if I mentioned in our last class that count and sum are not the same, right? Yes, so count returns the number of occurrence in a data, while sum returns the arithmetic addition of numbers. But then here we have the count if. So count if is used to match a condition. So here we have, oh, let me change the grids here. Uh, so I want to change the grids here so that we don't have all true. Free sleepy people, holy people, God's chosen people, sing praise. Okay, so the count if just counts based on condition. Now okay, this has been done. So this is like a grading system where a student's scores based on their subjects are imputed and based on the calculation. So here is the passing marks. If the student scores below 58, they fail, and the minimum total mark should be 150. So I think we'll just work with this. So for whichever, okay, so this is average average marks. So wherever uh, 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 okay, yes. So the student's average mark should be at least 58. So once you score below 58, then you fail. Okay, so we're now, so for the count if checks number of occurrences, it counts occurrences based on condition. Now we want to count if, so for the true, it means that the students passed and we have true. False meaning the student failed. So we want to count how many number of falses are there. So we use the function count if equals to count if. And the range, we want to count from this range. So I won't highlight it to them because there are other entries here so that it will not distort it. So we'll just select the range. From this range, if it's true, equals to true. Okay, so I need to wrap it. Mm-hmm. say 13. Yeah. So we are going to count all the values here. Anyone that is showing true, count them, and it returns 13. Uh, and it returns 13 because we've stated this is the range. We want to check through the range, and then what to check, the criteria, what are we looking for, the value that we want to count that is there. So it is true we want to count. So it counted all the truths in this range and returned that there are 13 true. So let's do the same thing for false. I want you to take me through that. Yeah. Mhm.
Match for the example.
Okay.
And the condition.
So what's condition? So we wrap it for it to know that this is a value we want to check for. Remember that we have data types, right? So if we just reference it as false, it will be thinking that we want to check logic condition. So we have to wrap it so that it will know that it is a value we want it to check. We are not checking for logic. So these are other uh, functions. I'll just share the sheet with you. So concatenate, it's used to merge two values together, right? Bring two values together. So for instance, we have equal to concat. Concat and concatenate actually the same. So what do we want to concatenate? This value and this value. So it gives us James patron. The first data, the first value and the second value, bring them together. Now, of course, this is not the way we write names. So if you want space in between, then you also make the the function know that you want space in between by creating, so you create a space in quotes. So I think it's supposed to put the double quotation. Yes. So you quote a space, and that makes your function know that, oh, you want space in between the words. If you want them to be separated by maybe comma or a slash, so you also quote whatever separator you want to be between, and it will take position. So I think here I had a comma and space. So let's leave it this way. So this is how you do to concatenate your merging two values together. Then sum if, just as we had the count if, the sum if sums value based on condition. So just like your assignment that you did, you could have, I could have asked you, okay, sum if the description was dues. So you can sum all the amount that was paid as due, all the amount that was paid as what was that, registration, right? So in this case, we have um, data sets of a store, and we can search, we can calculate for all the items that were sold in October, or all the items that were sold by a country. So let's see here was sold calculated by product. So yeah, let's calculate by country. How many countries are here? Let's calculate by region. So let's calculate by region. Now we can also do the referencing, right? And so region, there. So whatever region that is entered here is what we want to sum for. So total sales, right? So we can do equal to sum if, what is the range that will, what is the range of the condition we want to check? We want to check inside this range. If it is, if the value is this, whatever we entered here, then sum, what range are we summing from? From amount. So this function simply means check through this range, find the region that matches what is in cell R17, then go to the amount and sum all the amount that was sold that matches this country. So if we enter United States, it will come and check, okay, we have one United States here, picks it up, adds it to the next United States, keeps adding it until it exhausts the list. So it's zero, of course, because we've not entered a country, a region yet. So let's enter Africa. So this is the sales for Africa. Let's enter United States. Ah, and it keeps summing for us. Make sense? Or a bit confusing? Okay, so let me, you said, did I share this data set we are working with? Did I share it with you? Okay, so go through it. This same one, I want you to calculate by month. Month. Mm.
Saturday.
Okay. The April, I mean the month is on what range? Okay. Let me see the data again. The data set, the data set. M to the end and you're summing L to the end. Okay. Mhm. So through range this search this. So what was the error showing? Some if can you see can you see you have what do you call it? What do they call that thing again? Got that punctuation mark before after your sum if um oh oh Jesus, what's the name again? The colon, is that colon? Is that colon? No. The double dots after your equal to sum if
Yes.
it's not supposed to be there.
Okay, so it's what
Mhm. So
it's not the
it's worked, right?
yes.
Okay. So these are part of the debuggings you would always encounter, whether in Excel or when you begin other coding language. Very very little thing that you could easily pass would hold you back for some time. So, okay, so that's fine. Let's get back. Let me see if we're on track our learning. Today is day 3, but I think it will just serve as day 2, right? I think we're still on track. We're still in track. So let's go on with the class. Okay, so we've done concat, find. No. Okay. So Excel formulas are actually, so here we want to find, so to find the same as to search. So find, I think after this we'll do logic and we'll go. So find text. What text we find? So we want to find this within text. Oh no. So I want to find this within this range. Let's peel beyond the edges. Okay. 3. So I want to find this, but this is a very inefficient way of searching. I would rather recommend you use HLOOKUP or even XLOOKUP to search instead of instead of the find. Mhm. Uh, okay, so I want to use this to do. So I talked about relative referencing and absolute referencing. Do you remember? Was it in last class? Yes, it should be in last class. We talked about relative referencing and absolute referencing. So relative, so look at this. This is absolute. So both the in the column identifier and the row identifiers are quoted with the dollar sign. So it means that just reference um, this value and don't check beyond that. If it wasn't absolute, so let's take out being absolute referencing. You see that the next the next reference is Q5. So it checks for Q5. The next one will be Q6. So with, I mean, Q6, see Q6 here. So with the relative referencing, it references based on the corresponding row. It just keeps increasing based on the next row. It will reference the row the formula is on instead of a definite row you intend to use. So you see that it keeps matching and then it keeps returning. So of course, on each row, it finds the matching number, the matching value. So here we have Q9. Check for the value of Q9 on N8. Where is N8? This is N8. Where is Q9? There's no value in Q9. Q9. So it keeps referencing this, and it will, in some cases, you don't want to repeat or to reference the value on that row. Now, for instance, like with this one, we want to only look out for all the Februaries within here. And that was why it was absolutely referenced by using dollar sign in front of the um, colon, the colon tag, and another dollar sign in front of the row tag, so that it just keeps checking for only February. So the value that is in this cell Q4 is what you want to use to search through all your search. You don't want the value to change, or you don't want the reference value to change. And you see that when I apply it, all through the data, we have just two Februaries, right? And so on each row, when it finds February, it tags it at 1. So there's one occurrence of February here. There's another one occurrence of February here. So it will make you to be able to have total count of how many Februaries occur, just in case you don't want to use the count if function. But of course, why wouldn't you want to use count if function than to duplicate process. But again, these are just formulas that you need to know. Right. So if it wasn't absolute, you see that it keeps referencing the next column or the next row value. But absolutely, it locks in and say, okay, this is the only value I need you to work with. Or this is the only cell, yes, this is the only cell value I need you to work with. So check for only this value within that cell and don't reference based on existing cell. I don't know if this is confusing. Okay. So I think we just do is logical and then we'll move on. So we also have a function called is logical. So is logical. I'm very sure you have done data types in whatever of your programming course, right? Okay, so which of the languages and which and how many data types were you taught that exist?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Okay, so I said, in which of the languages, like in which of the programming languages have you been taught data types, and can you recount them for me, just as a refresher?
Python,
Okay, so
that's
yeah,
float, the integers.
yeah. So we have integers. Integers are what? Whole numbers. Then we have floats, decimal point numbers. We have Boolean that checks for logic, whether it is true or false. And then we have the character, or now, as a programmer, you don't say you have character data type. We have strings. So strings are characterized by characters and special, yes, alphabet and special characters, or even numerics can be manipulated to function as string, right? So it's string data type. Yeah, so there are four major data types generally. Yeah. So here this helps us, the is logic helps us to check for Boolean value, whether a condition, whether it is true or false. Do you understand? So here we have this, and of course now a logic, Boolean checks true or false. So that those are the returning values. See that true or it's not true, and that's false, right? So we have this false, true, text, 1, 2, 3, anything random. So we want to check whether they are Boolean or they are logical, right? Logically, it's being Boolean. So you use dot is logical. So is logical. What is the value? This value here, and it will return true because of course it is false. And Boolean values are what? Can you hear me? Okay. I said, can you tell what the Boolean data types are? What are the values for a Boolean data type? Or what consists a Boolean data type? Exactly. So the is logic, the is logical in Excel. That's what it's checking for, whether a value is true or false, right? And of course, so we have checked this, the value that is here. The value that is here, and it has returned it is true because it's a logic data type. It's a logical data type. And what informed it to be logical? We have checked for logic at the background to say if 100 is less than, if 100 is greater than 20, and yes, 100 is greater than 20, and then we're checking is the value a Boolean data type, is the value logical? Yes, it is logical. Then we also checked another 60 is less than 100. Yes, it's true. It is logical, right? And then we also have text here. So it's just plain text. Checking for is this logical? It's not logical because it's not testing a condition. It's not checking a condition to return uh, true or false. It is just text. So it returns false because it's not testing logic. Neither is this. This is not testing logic. Neither is this. This is not testing logic. Then we get to this um true. Of course, a value can be true. So it's also return logic. I mean, a true value is logical, right? So it's also return that is true. So we will just use the is the I mean the equal to is logical to check if a value is logical or not. So I think that's all for the formulas. These are to check rows and columns. The if a value on a column, the rows and value of a column. We just share. Okay, I think you say you have that. Then of course, can find dates. So can use the dot now to find the exact. I mean the equal to now to find the exact time of the day. Then we can also use the equal to today. Uh-huh. Supposed to be a function. So that today, yeah. So why is it not working? So today we just return the dates, the dates for today without the time. Okay. Would it be because of the letters? Okay. So case sensitivity too. So you can see that you can fetch this. So we come to the end of functions and formulas, and then you can ask any question now before I switch to our next topic. And so let's wait by started at 10. So when it is 11:30, we can take okay, so let's take a break. You can take a stroll, a 5 minutes break, drink water and all of that. Then we'll come back 11:17. In 5 minutes, that's 11:22, right? Yeah. Okay.
The presentation is still not a full screen.
Okay. Okay. So while Well, we are not even speaking on the presentation for now. So you're saying you're looking for your notes so that we could discuss any areas that you don't understand. So maybe since it's from W3 schools, let me also open W3 schools so that we can reference it when there is need. Okay, so I'm waiting for you. Okay, not at all. Okay. So, okay, let's move then. So let me reshare my screen. So we're looking at pivot table and we're getting into proper data analysis with Excel. So let me share. Yeah, so under pivot tables, is my screen up now? Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So under pivot tables, we'll be looking at charts, elements of charts, bar and column charts, formatting charts, live charts, area charts, all the kind of charts that are available on Excel, and also look at how to plot scatter plots, relationships, and all of that in Python. Oh my God, not in Python, in Excel. So we will first of all want to look through and see what the definition of a pivot. Some will say pivot, some will say pivot. Um, yeah. So we're looking at what a pivot table is. And here is the definition by referenced person, okay, yeah, from YouTube. Says a pivot table is a powerful Excel feature used to summarize, sort, and analyze data sets. Yes, a pivot table generally. So the first word that comes to your mind when you hear pivot is to summarize. So it helps you give a summary of your entire Excel data sets. So you can summarize. And yes, it helps you to sort and organize using formulas. And then it's very easy. You don't really even need to write formulas. It's drag and drop. Drag a column, you drop, and all of that. So we will go in with our data sets to import it, and I can't even see. Okay. So let me import the data. I have the data in mind to use. I can't remember what data is. Okay, yeah. So there's a data set here. Mm. Please confirm that you can hear me. My network kind of got distorted. Okay. Mm. Let's open data. What's the name of this data again? Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is a data set. I've already launched it in my Excel window. So this is a data set that comprised, let me delete this case sensitive. Oh, that means we will not have so much again. I don't think we can work with this. Delete. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so this will not be useful. Let me check another data. It doesn't have so much columns, so it might not work. Let me find another data set. Okay. Okay, so we have a data set here, and this is the data set of an estate residence that has the plot number, the uh, house owner, the person who the plot is allotted to, which is the allottee, uh, plate number, I don't know what this is, and street name. So based on this, we can decide to make a summarization to say, okay, we want to find all the houses in a particular street, all the data from a house in a particular street, or all the houses with a particular plate number, or all the plots or lands that are allotted to a particular person. So we use what is called the pivot table to do that. Now, for you to use the pivot table, you go to insert, and you see pivot table. You want to insert a pivot table. Uh, can you be so can you transfer maybe your call to your phone while you follow on your system? Or are you able to navigate both ways? Because I feel, and then you also drop your email for me just in the in-call message so that I can share the data sets with you. Hmm. I think I just remembered something. Since we are still way back, I have
So I didn't hear what you were saying before.
okay. So I said,
Just saying.
okay. Can you share your email with me? Okay, just send it on WhatsApp so that I can share the data sets I have with you for practice. And then I'm also thinking, since we still have some time on our hand, I will pause pivots and let's do some practice with all what we've learned. So I have some data sets. So please just share the link with me so that I will share the data with you too. Then we'll use today for class practice. Mm, do I have it here? Let me upload it on my drive.
Send to Judy.
Okay, in-call
No
message.
problem.
Okay, it's fine. I'm coming. So I said I'll be sharing. Okay, so I'll be giving direction. You do the workings. Then you will be sharing screenshots for me to see your progress. That's cool, right? Because if I need to share my screen, it means you need to concentrate on my screen sharing and you cannot work on your device. And I wanted you to share. Okay, okay, it's fine. You can, okay. If you want to join on both, so you can, no problem. Have you finished switching? Okay, are we good to go?
Yes, I'm trying to get the exam. Okay.
Okay. So just tell me when you're ready. Hi, Annie, confirm if you're still there.
Yes,
Okay, so are you ready? You're still getting it together.
yes,
Okay, it's fine. Just notify me if, when you're ready. A quick, a quick skim through of who is where. And then we can also go a step further to look up for values from another sheet. It doesn't have to be just values in from one sheet in one sheet. So we can use the lookup value from to find values in different from different sheets. Here we have the students. So remember, so here this is like the master sheet where the entire student record is in. And then let's say this is coming from the academic department where the students' academic records are checked. Then here is coming from the finance department where each department, each program and its corresponding school fees is tagged. Now, when we go to the students master list, we'll see that the column for fees is not fixed. And because we want to know which student should pay how much, or yes, we want to know how much a student pays, we have to go to the fees to check. Now that we see on the fee, we have two columns that matches the student fee with their program. So it means that a student's fee is determined by their program. Can you still hear me? Okay. So want to check for that. I think I will do for this and then I'll leave the last column for you. You will take it as assignment, right? So here we will now check equals to X lookup still. What is the value we're looking for? We're looking for, so whatever whatever the student program that is here, program, where is program? Okay, so major. So whatever the student major is what we want to see. So we can also use this formula bar to keep track. So whatever the student uh, major is, we want to check it from this sheet. And inside this sheet, check it against this column. Okay, so let me open this outside. Okay. So we'll go to this sheet, no fees, and we want to match it to okay. So let me open this in Excel. I was using Google Worksheets, Google Sheets, Excel. Let me open it on my desktop on Excel. Mhm. Why why am I opening something different? Real life class. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay. So we have done this for this. Okay. So I was saying, so for the fees, we are going to search from multiple sheets, right? We're not just going to, no, 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 no. Okay. So let me reshare window. Share. Okay. Confirm you can see it now.
Yes.
Okay. So it's we're still using the same X lookup for formula. There's no difference. But the only difference now is we're referencing another sheet. We're not just working with data within one sheet. We're referencing outside a a an existing sheet, right? So we'll still use the X lookup function. And remember I said earlier that now the fees, this is the sheet for the fees. So we're assuming that it's a school, and this sheet now is from, say, the finance department or the account department that keeps record of students' course and their corresponding school fees, which means that the students program or course determines how much they pay. We see anthropology pays $23, apparel merchandising pays 25, biology pays 27, and so on, right? So now we will now want to match each student with their course and their fees. We want to match each student with their fees based on their course. So what we want to look is, okay, we want to find each student's course. So we want to find the course under major, the student's course or program here. So whatever program that is in this cell, go to this fees, look for it under this cell. I think there is a program here that I've mistakenly deleted. Look for it under here. Now you see the formula bar is where we can work with. Of course, we are switching between two sheets, so we can keep track of our formulas in the formula bar. You can see it, right? So again, we separate. So what are we finding? Then when we find it, what do we want to do? We want to match it with the return array with the school fees. So we want to return the school fees. Okay, so we want to return the value that is here. And we have 27 for what? Biology. So let's go back to the fees course and see. Yes, biology is 27. Now we can auto drag this to autofill the formula. And this is where we will now talk about the relative referencing more. You will now get to see the relative referencing more. You see that it went to check what is the new value in the next cell, in the next row, cell F7. Then it went to check it against and return the value. So when we have relative referencing, it keeps matching with the next column, with the next row, the value in the next row or the next column. It doesn't stay static. and we can now autofill because of course we've seen, so the formula applies to all. We can now decide to autofill the formula, and based on relative referencing, it will match it automatically based on the new entry here. Are we cool, or do we go over it again?
I'm just wondering how you're able to get
Okay. So let me delete and then we go. Let me just clear it from here. So remember that we talked about referencing, right? Now, referencing does not only work with cells. You can reference a sheet, you can reference a column, you can reference um, a sheet within a worksheet, right? You can reference, so I'm clearing, not deleting, clear content. So you can reference a sheet within a worksheet. So watch again and see. So of course, we started with our lookup value, our function, which is x lookup. And now this piece here is already linked, right? So this is their matching corresponding results. So we want to check any program that is here. We want to find it inside this sheet. So you just, if there's no work, you just you just navigate to the sheet, click on it. Can you see that it's already picked it out? So it's already showing that, oh, the new directory the person is picking data from is um from students. Join it with sheet fees. Can you see fees here? So it means that we are combining this sheet name students and this fees, this sheet called fees. So under students, the value we are looking out for is on cell F6. So in students, we're looking for the value in cell F6, which is our lookup value. Then we're going to cell fees, the cell that is targeted fees. That's where we are going to next. Then we want to find this value from this range, from the range of in this cell. So, okay, since you said you had another system, can you be walking along and see how it? I need you to sort this your screen sharing issue. And our next class, you're going to have your camera on, which is on Thursday. You're going to have your camera on. We are both going to have our cameras on. So try to navigate it and Are you finding any challenge?
No.
Okay.